Welcome to episode 8 of Ray's Franchise, the off-season episode. I figured I'd give you guys just a little bit of a preview going into the off-season before we get into it. Really not a ton to go over. As you can see here, these are our players eligible for free agency. A couple of three just right off the bat that I know I'm most likely not bringing back would be Pete Fairbanks here, Ryan Yarbrough, and Francisco Mejia. Pretty much all of them. I guess Pete Fairbanks is not due to make too much in arbitration, but the other two are just going to be making too much to really justify bringing them back. I mean, Mejia had, we talked about him, he had an okay year offensively, but just the defense is really holding him back. I'd really like somebody else. So I'm going to try to deal him, get a little bit of value in return. Yarbrough and Fairbanks are both injured, so I'm not going to be able to trade them. So I'm just going to pretty much let them walk. We're not really working with a ton of money right now, just after signing Juan Soto and whatnot. Now I can mess around with budgets a little bit here in order to free up a little bit of space for some moves, but we're going to have to do a little bit of be a little flexible here to make some moves to improve the team. As far as improving the team, I mean, I'm super happy with where we're at, especially pitching. I really don't see a need to change too much. It's definitely looking like we're not going to be bringing back Glasnow, which I'm okay with. I mean, obviously after kind of hindsight looking like we got bounced in the first round, maybe it would have been worth trading him, getting a massive prospect haul or something at the deadline. But I really liked having the really deep starting rotation going into the playoffs, and he pitched fairly well for us in a loss. But anyways, he also tends to get the fragile tag fairly quickly. So so we're probably going to just offer him the qualifying offer, get a supplemental pick in return, and just let him ride off into the sunset. So we do appreciate Glasnow. Obviously didn't see a ton of him because of the big real life injury that he's dealing with right now. But I think we have more than it'll people to fill in the rotation. Obviously probably not quite as good, but we're still going to be having McClanahan, Boz, and Rasmussen. So it'll probably be a mixture, obviously, of those three, and then the 4 and 5 is probably going to be either McKay, could be Chris Rodriguez, Jacob Lopez, and we also have the Ian Seymour as well, who stepped up and pitched really well for us in the short time that he was up. So those are all good options. Another person that's kind of up in the air is Brooks Raley, who has a team option for $6.5 million. I have not accepted or denied it yet. I just have a feeling if I declined it and tried to rework a contract, he coming off a 2 more year, just really great number. So he might be wanting more money than that. And when it comes to relievers, obviously they're super important, but are they worth $6.5 million? I'm not so sure. So a part of me is also wanting to accept the team option and then see if I can just trade them and get some form of compensation back. Again, I don't know. I just don't also want to be stuck with that $6.5 million if a trade doesn't work. So that's something I'm gonna have to work through. And then as far as offensively, where I do believe we have some improvement we could be made, I think a little bit of our issues was just some of the younger guys tailing off towards the end of the year. Obviously injuries played a big role. So just kind of filling in those spots, maybe getting a little bit of veteran presence, either in the infield or an outfielder. Also, honestly, it would be nice just to get a full-time. I don't necessarily like always having like a full-time DH. I like to have some sort of defensive flexibility from them, but I mean, we mostly had Francisco Mejia be our DH, and so it would be nice to just get a big bopper to come in and just play DH all the time. So I think that's maybe something I'm looking for. And obviously catcher, we're going to be without our starter and our backup. So we need to figure out something there. So I think that's it. I think that's my main two goals as far as the offensive side of the ball is getting a new starting catcher. And then also just one bat, honestly, to just really DH or, play a little, first base, maybe corner outfield here and there. That's really all I can ask for. And other than that, I mean, we're just gonna kind of wait and see what comes to us, and play it smart, like, or at least attempt to be smart, and see what happens. Obviously, we're not gonna have a ton of money to work with, so we gotta do a little bit of money ball action. But yeah, so I will see you guys in a little bit, and we'll kind of go over the off season later. See you. All right, guys, I'm back. I know I just said that I'd be back in a little bit, and for you guys it was just a short a cut there, but it's actually been a while since I recorded that little intro part until I got into this point. Just like I said, it was a mixture of a bunch of things going on with life, but I'm back. Did get episode 7 out and edited, and so I appreciate everybody's support and hanging on, and everybody who watches regularly. But anyways, on to the good stuff here. We're at March 29th. We got through spring training, and we're getting ready to start the season. So I'm going to kind of give you guys a rundown of everything that went down this off season. And we'll start off with the biggest move, really, of the off season right here was a deal with the Chicago White Sox. We traded away Francisco Mejia. Pretty much throughout all of my saves, the White Sox are always a trading partner for me. For Mejia, they usually like Yandy. Obviously, Yandy went to the Angels in this save, but anyways, so we traded away Francisco Mejia, who's looking like his overall potential is going up even more. But anyways, I guess one day of the season has already begun. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so talked about him ad nauseum. Great offensive player. Defense wasn't there for me. Wanted to move in a different direction. We packaged in this Humberto Jimenez, starting pitching prospect. Obviously not a whole lot here, so I was okay with letting him go. And our return is we got 28-year-old Reese McGuire, catcher. So obviously we are taking a little bit of a step down as far as offensively with Reese, but we're taking a huge step up with catcher ability here, which I'm very excited for. And he's coming off a solid year, pretty league average with the bat. Still 2 WAR, so his defense I think even has a little bit more room for improvement, but I think it will come. But he's also a lefty too, which I like kind of from the catcher position to kind of switch it up, because you'll see I got our new backup as well, who's a righty. So just kind of having almost like a little platoon option with catching, I think is a good deal. So he's actually 29 years old now. But so we're obviously taking a little bit, a decent chunk step back as far as offensively, but I think he'll be able to hold it down just fine. And I was really excited about this. We were able to add in Garrett Crochet to the deal, who had I was a little surprised at them willing to deal him. I guess they just really valued Mejia's offensive numbers. But Crochet here, coming in to really be just a long relief, possible stopper, possible emergency, starter. I think his stamina did go down since the trade, at least by my scout. But he's coming off a pretty solid year last year, being a starter for the White Sox. And obviously we're going going out without Glasnow this year. So having some more depth here, I think as of right now we have him as a reliever. But very excited, a lefty, which we needed. And so I was pretty happy with this trade. I don't think obviously we didn't pull in a superstar, but I think we got a pretty good haul for what we kind of went in knowing we wanted to move Mejia. And I think this was kind of the best haul that I got in return for him. So we did not take the option for Brooks Raley. And looking at it now, I think we're okay with that. I think his ratings are starting to go down a little bit. We'll have to see. Obviously, we didn't get really anything in return. I did possibly try to bring him back, just kind of restructure the deal after avoiding the option here, but he ended up signing with the Phillies, and I think that's okay. But other than that, not a ton of more moves. Well, this is 2024. Gotta go. Where were we? That was October, so November 2023. Anything here? I know. I mean, this arbitration.
We let Lorenzo Cain, Andrelton Simmons, we let them go. Lorenzo Cain's going to independent ball. Anything else here? I do remember us losing a bunch of the arbitrations, so we're paying a little bit more in that department. So Tyler Glasnow, he did reject the qualifying offer. So he did end up heading over to the Miami Marlins. So we did get we will be getting a, what was it? It was a second round supplemental pick for in return for him leaving. He did actually, usually he signs for some long deals. And at 30 years old, I'm not necessarily a fan of, but he didn't really have a huge market. He was signed real late into the free agency market, free agency period, and only signed for about a $33 million contract over 2 years. So that kind of makes me thinking man, I should have maybe tried to get in the race a little bit for signing just a contract like this. I would have loved to have him back, but he ended up going to the Marlins. No big deal. We'll get a second round pick. Hopefully we can make something out of that. Let's see here. Anything else? Doesn't look like anything else for November. We did lose 2 players to the Rockies in the Rule 5 draft. Yang here, I picked up. He was a late addition catcher, older guy from South Korea. Obviously awful ability, but he had some pretty good offensive statistics at the time. Obviously never made it to the big leagues or anything, so I was okay with letting him go. And then also Marco Gonzalez, another one of those veteran guys I picked up late in the offseason, last offseason, ended up going to the Rockies. So no big deal. Free up some space. And I'm also very happy about this signing here. We got Carson Kelly, formerly of the Diamondbacks. Again, having a backup catcher. I mean, my scout actually has him rated a bit higher than Reese McGuire, but 2 catchers at 65 ability. There's not a ton of catchers right now at 70, so I'm okay taking a little bit of a step back, going with 65 with some catchers that actually have a little bit of offensive capabilities. So having a lefty-righty catcher with 2 catchers, one lefty, one righty, both with the same ability. Really, I'm going to be kind of platooning them a bunch, and also possibly just kind of seeing who gets hot. Kelly, he did not have a great year at all last year, especially offensively. Hoping he could turn it around, but that's why we have the 2 of them that are very similar profiles and willing to kind of go with one or the other, depending on who's hot, just kind of riding the hot hand. We did only sign him just to a 1-year deal, so it's a prove it deal. So if he lights it up, he's obviously going to want to get paid next year, but we'll cross that bridge when we get here. What is he? Yeah, see, already he kind of wants about 5-ish mil for 3 years there. So, but anyway, so I was very happy with that. I like we went from having no catchers to having 2 solid ones with good defense. So that will help out our already really good pitching staff. So, all right, moving on. January, a couple more guys signed to I think I was going ahead and kind of trying to get past arbitrations for next year, betting on my players here. February, nothing really here. March, no, I think it's okay. So we did place Taylor Walls and Chirinos on waivers, but they both did not get claimed by anybody, so they're both still in the organization, just freeing up some space and everything. Wow. This is like me reacting to it right along with you guys. I forgot. We had a super late signing at the end of free agencies. We picked up, that's kind of sad that I completely forgot about this. So we did get our Glasnow replacement here, and that is in the form of Luis Severino. Very excited for this. He had honestly an awful year last year, but he only pitched 28 innings. I'm pretty sure he got injured. No, I guess it was only a mild calf strain. He is coming off of a elbow injury here in 2022 where he was out for like a year. So yeah, okay, that makes sense. But anyways, he obviously has a fragile tag, but we were able to scoop him up for about $4 million for 1 year, and we'll see how it goes. I think this was a pretty what the heck am I trying to say? Pretty much a no-brainer. Obviously coming off of a bad year. If he gets injured, no big deal. I mean, obviously we're out the $4 million, but no lasting impacts, and we have depth. But I wasn't really planning on doing it. But he had like no markets. I think it was like I said, the injury proneness here, and the bad year last year, and the small sample size. So hoping for a bounce back for him, and he's gonna make it in a rotation. Pair him up with McClanahan and Boz. And I'm very excited. So hopefully he takes the role. He probably is not going to be as good as Glasnow was last year, but hey, better than throwing in. Well, we do have some rookies. We got the Ian Seymour. We got Jacob Lopez. I don't know. They both on the fence of whether or not I think they are ready. But yeah. So let's take a look now. Let's go to the. Let's go to the preseason predictions. Let's see what the game thinks of us. So going into this year is predicting a very strong AL East again, with every team pretty much hovering around 500, 4 of the 5 above. Yankees only 2 games below. Well, actually 1 game below 500. So has us right in the middle right here. Going in 3rd place, but only finishing 5 games behind the Red Sox at in first. So I think we could just as easily as any of these teams take control of the division, just as long as our players get hot when we need them to. Do we have any top hitters yet? We got Soto, who again is the big question mark, as we did bring him back. He's on his last year of his deal, $27.5 million. This is definitely going to be a year where I'm not going to be fully opposed to being a little bit of a seller at the deadline, depending on how it's going, just to really retool. I think we're in a great place to possibly make some waves, in the off season. But also, I think we have such a good core of young players that I don't think it would hurt too much to be able to retool, get rid of some guys, free up some space, and kind of work around it again without having to become super not competitive, and necessarily have to go into a full rebuild or anything like that. So. Anyways, top pitchers. It's got Boz here as the second best pitcher in the league, just behind Garrett Cole. Would definitely love to see that. He had a great 2023, put up 4.6 WAR, led the league in home runs per 9. Yeah, would love to see that. And also Nick Anderson as a reliever has made the list here as well. Yeah, so very looking good. I think it could go either way. And what else should we take I guess I will show you, because like I said, we are at spring training here, past spring training. So I will just show you who made our 26-man roster here. I guess actually I'll start with pitching. So this is our starting rotation to start the year. We got Shane Baz, McClanahan as our 1-2, and then Severino as our 3. Brendan McKay and Chris Rodriguez is actually going to round out our 4th and 5th starters here. I actually do have something to show you that actually reminded me. Let's go to the injured list. We have some issues already with the injured list. We lost in spring training Drew Rasmussen. Lost him. He is going to be out for the year, torn UCL. Hate to see that. Had a great year last year. But we got the depth, really going to lean on everybody, but it would have been nice to at least start the year, full strength. And then we have Luis Patino, who is still recovering. He had actually, I think, 2 setbacks in a row. He's supposed to be back already from his injury from last year, the torn elbow ligament. But he's not back yet. But only 2 more weeks, and then he should be back. So he will definitely bolster our starting rotation even more. And then we also have Brandon Lau is out right now with an oblique strain. So we'll be without him for 2 weeks. But again, not too awful. So in 2 weeks, we'll get some nice reinforcements on pitching and batting. But yeah, so that is the update as far as injuries. But yeah, sorry, back to the pitching. So you saw our starting rotation. Chris Rodriguez is looking good. He had struggled a little bit when we got him, at least in AAA from the Angels. Ended up putting together in the 43 2/3 innings that he pitched for us, had a pretty solid 176 ERA plus. So was looking real good. And our scout even now has put a little bit more potential, saying that he's got a little bit more room to even grow. So we'd love to see that. So he's starting in our starting rotation. Again, but more than willing to move guys in and out depending on who's hot and who's not. When it comes to our starting rotation, got a ton of depth there. Jacob Lopez and Ian Seymour, two starters right there. They didn't make the 26-man roster, mostly just because of just having options available. But they are more than ready, for me to slot in if we need them. So we got, like I said, Garrett Crochet here, another option for starter. But we're having him coming out of the bullpen, being kind of a long relief bulk guy. And our what am I trying to say? Our bullpen, other than that, is very similar to last year. Not a whole lot of differences. Obviously, Brooks Raley's not here, and that's the big thing. So Jalen Beeks is going to kind of be our middle relief lefty. But yeah, looks good. Didn't have to make too many moves. Don't have a ton of money invested into the bullpen, which is perfect to have a great bullpen with as little money as possible. That's kind of best case scenario. I think a few of these guys have contracts coming up, or coming to the end of this year. So we'll have to make some moves. Maybe could sell high on them because try to get as much value for a bullpen arm as you can, because you can get them a little bit easier than other positions. Moving on to the offense, this is what it's looking like. Because of the Lau injury, Xavier Edwards is going to be starting the year up with the team. Did struggle a bit in his time. Only had 67 plate appearances, but so small sample size, but did struggle a bit with 52 OPS plus. But he's going to be batting leadoff against righties. I don't think we have him in against lefties. Yeah, he's a little bit better with righties, so we have him in here. Alec Burleson, we're giving him one more shot. He ended the year pretty okay last year, but still has not been amazing. Has not been what I thought he would with these, ratings here. So we'll see. He's going to be kind of DHing for us. Like I said, we didn't end up getting any big offensive guys in the offseason. So we're going to kind of roll with it. I'm going to try my best to not get connected to, get attached to some of these guys and make some moves when needed, especially with Isaac Paredes here. Would love to see him kind of fully develop and come to his own here. Still has some ways to go here. And he's been pretty good for us, but not anything amazing. He's been above average, but also he hasn't really had like a full season of starting, which is going to be him at third base. So that's really going to be kind of a tell to see. I could see third base being a place that could be, upgraded. As much as I love him as a player, and he's great, but maybe he's just not worthy of, like an everyday starter. He should be more of kind of coming off the bench. I don't know. We'll see. Luis Renifo, again, probably a guy that we're going to move on from this year. He's been great. I've loved having him kind of as a backup utility guy. He's going to be starting at second base for us a decent bit this year. But he's getting pretty expensive in arbitration. So if he starts off hot, might have to sell high on him. I mean, he hit 361 for us in limited plate appearances last year. So hopefully we can get more of that when he's going to be moved more into a starting role, especially accounting for Lau being out for a bit here. Andrew Vaughn starting up with the team this year. He played 5 games for us last year when we needed him, and it was okay. His ratings have come up a little bit more. He's developed a bit, but has never really became, the Andrew Vaughn that we're especially seeing in real life too. So we'll see. He's going to be kind of back up first base, corner outfield, DH type guy. Then obviously we have the Reese McGuire, Carson Kelly, who I'm pretty sure I got him platooning right now. Yep. And we got our main 2 stars, our main 3 stars, I would say, with Wander and Juan Soto back. Just looking for more of the same. Wander's put up, 3.7 in 2022, 4.9 WAR in 2023. Hoping he can just keep increasing. Maybe shoot for like a 7 WAR season. That would be pretty great. He led the league last year in hits and doubles, and just want to see more of that. Maybe even batting over 300. Be nice to see. And then we also got Juan Soto, who again is the, big question mark. Do we try to bring him back on a raised budget? Do we let him walk? Just kind of let him, depending, I mean, it's really going to depend on how the team's going. Do we just kind of slap the qualifying offer on him and get what we can? Do we try to trade him at the deadline? I think that would just really depend on our capabilities going forward. And maybe, just maybe, we could try to sign him. But even if it's, somebody looking for, if it's a trade deadline move, just as a rental, I'm sure we could get a ton for him. And Manny Margot, hopefully he could stay healthy. He had a great year last year, put up 5.3 WAR, batting for 300 with the amazing outfield, range here, playing great defense and giving us good offense. That is, that's all-star worthy right there. Brandon Marsh was very good last year. And we have him kind of platooning really with Randy, who kind of lost the full-time starter job in the outfield because he had a pretty rough spring training, as you can see here. So I love Randy, love him in real life. He pulled together a decent season last year, very injury-filled. But when he was in, he was pretty good. So we'll just have to see. Always got my eye on him, willing to make changes if needed. And I guess that's everybody. Excited to see what Brandon Marsh does. Like I said, getting a full-time role. But again, the corner outfield, maybe if Randy and Marsh aren't cutting it, that could be an upgrade possibly there. Oh, and I guess the last thing, Curtis Mead. Just looking for more improvement out of him. He played 95 games for us last year and ended up pretty middle of the road. Did hit 15 homers, which is nice. So just more improvement. I mean, he's only 23 years old, so I think he's going to get better for sure. And just excited to see it. I think lastly, before we go any farther, we got a little bit more money to work with this year. You take a look. I'll let you guys take a look at my salaries. Nothing to really go through too much here. Manny Margot on a team option. It's so nice to see. Not really, aside from Wander, not a lot of money tied up. So obviously some fairly big arbitrations coming on here with Shane McClanahan, McGuire, Renifo, even Paredes, Randy. So definitely some decisions to be made, but we're relatively flexible. And let's just take a quick look at some of our, just look through some of the top 200 guys here in our, some of our prospects that made the top 200. So our number one prospect is JJ Goss, who I was talking about before, as far as, not wondering the value of him, but he, now my scouts got him at a 60 potential. And I think he actually, we did assign him to the 40-man this year because he was eligible for the Rule 5. So I figured I'd throw him on. And he is looking real good, technically two-way player, but I think he's going to just stick as a starter. So he is starting the year in AAA. We'll just have to see what he does. He's now the 17th prospect in baseball, so that's cool. We have Junior Caminero here, who I don't know a whole lot about. I think haven't really talked about him since like the very beginning of the series. I think it's just a real life international free agent signing by the Rays. But I mean, he's solid all around hitter here. Pretty, not amazing defensively, but flexible at least throughout all the infield spots. And I mean, he's still only 20 years old now. We have him at AA, so hopefully he develops a little bit quicker. I mean, I guess no rush. Obviously, want him to develop just as much or whatever he needs. But excited to see what he's doing. He's been playing great in rookie ball and low and high A. Pretty solid. He is the 38th prospect in baseball. We got Taj Bradley here. Oh, he's another guy. I'm pretty sure I had to add him to the 40-man. Yep, he's in the 40-man. He's another option starting pitching depth to maybe make his debut at some point this year because he's looking pretty developed. I mean, look at these 3 pitches here. Looking good. Had a great year in AAA last year. Only 26 innings pitched, but even AA, he pitched really well. So he is another possibility to come up. Nick Bitsko, another great starting pitching arm. That's why I'm not too worried about injuries and things like that and moving on from guys like Glasnow because we have Bitsko coming up. He's only 21 years old. He will be coming up soon, hopefully. And I guess we'll wrap it up here. A couple more. Carson Williams, a real life draft pick, looking good. Been playing really well in A-ball. He's up at AA to be kind of a all over the place type player, infield, outfield, wherever we need him. Ian Seymour here, who I talked about, he was definitely going to be kind of making probably going to be a flexible guy coming up and down for us. I think this was just a scouting discovery. Graviel Casimiria, probably butchered that. He's looking pretty great. 65 potential starting pitcher out of Venezuela. And anything else? Anthony Molina here. I think another scouting discovery, I believe. Could be wrong. But anyways, a ton of starting pitchers, depth, and as far as prospects, we need a little bit more. Get some of these batters coming up. But anyways, let's see here. How long have we been recording? So I'm probably just going to leave that as what it is, and then the next episode is we'll do the kind of the tradition. We'll play through our opening day game, which is going to be against the Astros, see how we do, take a look at the team, and go from there. So let me know, guys, what you think about my moves. It kind of, again, had another kind of, well, not another, I mean, the last offseason we got Juan Soto, but at least a pretty quiet, compared to that, a much more quiet offseason. Let me know what you think about my moves. Any kind of tips and tricks you might have as far as moving forward with this team, where you would look to improve, or things to keep an eye out for. And like I said, I appreciate all of the feedback. Please leave I love reading comments and responding and stuff. So please let me know what you think. So I'll be talking to you guys later. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.